Imagine the suffocating scent of raw copper and fresh blood staining the freezing winter air. Picture a creature of absolute nightmares, a monstrous, battle-scarred gray wolf standing taller than a grown man, its massive jaws capable of snapping a spine like a brittle twig. This is a beast that has bathed in the slaughter of thousands, a creature whose mere shadow sends the most ruthless warriors to their knees in paralyzed dread. Now, visualize this terrifying apex predator cornering its prey inside a rotting, drafty wooden cabin at the very edge of a forsaken, snow-drowned forest. You brace yourself for the inevitable blood-curdling scream, the sickening crunch of bones, the desperate, futile scramble for survival, but the scream never comes. Instead, a frail, shivering girl, nothing more than skin and fragile bones, simply wipes a streak of wetness from her cheek, lets out a long, deeply exasperated sigh, and casually smacks the creature's terrifying, blood-stained snout. "Stop licking my face, you oversized nuisance," she scolds, her voice dripping with sheer annoyance rather than an ounce of terror. This absolute, breathtaking shattering of expectations is exactly why Wolf King Stories US warmly welcomes you to one of the most magnificent subversions of power dynamics in the history of fantasy literature. Before we dive deep into the fascinating psychological labyrinth of this tale, if you are someone who believes in the sheer power of courage, who believes that a pure, unflinching soul can bend destiny and tame the most savage forces in the universe, then please hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Your support is the ultimate driving force that allows our channel to continue unraveling the profound, hidden messages beneath these incredible stories. Now, let us peel back the layers of our collective, almost feverish obsession with this specific scenario. Why does the image of a helpless girl casually disciplining an apex predator grip our souls so violently? From my perspective as a storyteller, I see that it is far more than just the comedic irony of the situation. It taps into the darkest, most vulnerable corners of our human subconscious. It is the ultimate, grittiest manifestation of the Beauty and the Beast syndrome, an age-old trope that continuously resurrects itself because it addresses a fundamental human craving, the desperate need to find a trace of humanity buried within absolute savagery. When we are faced in reality with towering threats, with entities that represent crushing, toxic power and chaos, our primal instinct dictates that we must either submit or perish. Yet, within the safe confines of this narrative, we desperately yearn to witness the exact opposite. Seeing this broken, fragile girl establish dominance over a walking engine of death is a profound projection of our desire to conquer our own paralyzing fears. It is a powerful, silent declaration that brute force and raw muscle do not dictate the universe. Sometimes, radical compassion, paired with an unyielding refusal to cower before cruelty, becomes the ultimate weapon, one capable of disarming the sharpest claws and the darkest hearts. We are utterly mesmerized because it feeds the intoxicating fantasy of being the sole exception, the one soul special enough to overwrite a monster's very nature and turn a harbinger of death into a fiercely loyal protector. To truly understand how this fantasy of being the sole exception takes root, we must first examine the architecture of the very defiance that makes it possible. When I look at the fragile girl standing in that freezing, rotting cabin, I do not see a victim paralyzed by the imminent threat of death. I see a survivor who has already walked through hell and found the flames lacking. How does a child composed of nothing but sharp collarbones and hollow cheeks look a monstrous avatar of slaughter in the eye and feel only annoyance? The answer lies in the profound, often tragic resilience born from utter destitution. In my years of analyzing these narratives, I have come to realize that those who have been completely broken by the world possess a unique, terrifying immunity to its ordinary horrors. This girl has likely endured the cruelty of mankind, the kind of insidious, calculated malice that wears a polite smile while twisting the knife. Compared to the betrayal of humans, the honest, primal hunger of a wild beast is almost refreshing in its simplicity. Imagine, for a moment, being a creature defined entirely by the violence you are capable of inflicting. This towering, battle-scarred wolf has lived its entire existence within a suffocating prison of its own savagery, surrounded constantly by the overwhelming stench of fear and the deafening chorus of desperate pleas. Every living thing it encounters either flees in blind panic or attacks with the viciousness of the doomed. It has never known a touch that was not meant to kill, to skin, or to drive it away. When this frail human girl reaches out and smacks its blood-stained snout, it is not merely a physical shock, it is a violent disruption of the creature's entire understanding of the cosmos. For the first time in its blood-soaked life, it is not being treated as a monster, a demon, or a trophy to be hunted. It is being treated as a nuisance, an equal, a living, breathing thing capable of learning boundaries. Why do I pour my soul into untangling the threads of this specific tale for you? Because the image of the girl and the great wolf, walking side by side out of that rotting cabin and into the blinding white snow, is the ultimate testament to the triumph of radical compassion. We live in a deeply cynical reality, a world that constantly preaches that vulnerability is a fatal weakness, and that the only way to survive the monsters at our door is to become one ourselves. But this story looks that cynical philosophy directly in the eye and outright rejects it. It whispers a profound, dangerous truth, that the most powerful force in the universe is not the sharpness of a claw or the cruelty of a sword, but the unyielding strength of a compassionate heart. The tale of the fragile girl and the apex predator is far more than a dark fantasy survival story. It is a masterful exploration of trauma, resilience, and the transformative power of radical compassion. In a modern reality that frequently equates strength with dominance and survival with ruthlessness, these two deeply scarred outcasts offer a revolutionary alternative. The girl's exhausted, quiet defiance strips the dreaded beast of its mythological terror, while the wolf's desperate, shuddering submission reveals the agonizing isolation hidden beneath its savagery. Together, they navigate the freezing, unforgiving wilderness of their existence, not by conquering one another, but by engaging in a silent, painstakingly beautiful dance of mutual salvation. Their unbreakable vow, forged in the ashes of their past agonies, proves that the deepest psychological wounds are not healed by inflicting further pain, but by intentionally lowering our defenses in the presence of someone who chooses understanding over fear. This narrative serves as a timeless, piercing reminder that vulnerability is not a fatal liability, but the ultimate catalyst for genuine connection. When we strip away the societal labels of monsters and victims, we are left with the raw, undeniable truth that even the most ferocious beasts can be tamed by a single, unwavering act of stubborn love. Ultimately, their journey out of the rotting cabin and into the blinding snow is a testament to the fact that we do not have to become monsters to survive them. We simply have to relentlessly hold on to our humanity when everything else demands we let it go. The profound lesson. True strength is not defined by the ability to inflict harm or dominate our surroundings, but by the capacity to offer radical compassion in the face of immense hostility. The monsters we encounter are often born from a deep, agonizing isolation and a history of trauma. Meeting aggression with stubborn empathy, rather than mirroring the violence or succumbing to panic, possesses the unique power to disarm the darkest threats and heal the most profound wounds. How to apply this to your life. When you encounter hostility, systemic cruelty, or overwhelmingly difficult circumstances, consciously resist the primal instinct to respond with equal aggression or paralyzing fear. Instead, try to look past the fangs of the person or situation confronting you. Recognize that difficult behavior often masks profound exhaustion or a desperate need to be understood. In your daily conflicts, whether you are dealing with a hostile colleague, navigating a personal crisis, or facing your own harsh self-criticism, practice this quiet rebellion. Set firm boundaries without sacrificing your empathy. Treat monumental anxieties as manageable inconveniences and offer a moment of unexpected grace. You do not have to wage a bloody war against every challenge. Sometimes, you simply have to refuse to participate in the hostility. Question for you. Have you ever faced a monster in your life, whether a difficult person or a highly stressful situation, where choosing calmness or compassion completely changed the outcome? Please kindly share your story in the comments section below, so our community can read and learn from your unique perspectives. If you found value in this deep dive, please subscribe to the channel to support our work and give us the motivation to bring you more thought-provoking content.